not much so.
Hey guys, welcome to NRL Fantasy Round 23 Buy Hold Sell. And this week we're going to be talking about replacing Herbie Farnworth. How long have you owned Herbie?
Yes.
Right.
Well, 3 weeks, 2 games. That's
hmm
been really fun and an average of 49. So great year for me. Looking forward to not owning him next year, and I'm scoring a lot when I don't own him. So be great.
Nice. Nice.
Yeah.
I've had a bit of a better run with him, but unfortunately he's out for the season. And he did drag the average distribution down quite a bit, I'd say. 900 with a full 17 is pretty poor for the top 1000.
Mm. Yeah, I mean there was some low scores across the board, and obviously Haas going out as well, sort of tested people's depth, I think, a little bit. So
For sure, for sure. And those average trades at 3.7 is actually, I feel like it's a bit intimidating if you're on three trades. I'd definitely be wanting
mm,
more in the bank. Kicking off with some buy hold sells. This is a no-brainer. You should already own him. Everyone who knows what they're doing do own him. But if you don't, by any chance, you have to get in Jaden Campbell. I don't think you need to say anything more than that. He got 103 or something ridiculous like that, and he's starting to look like a possible captaincy option. So just throwing that out there. But our first main buy of the week is Latrell Mitchell.
yeah, I mean obviously still pending to be named, but I think if you have less than three trades, it's a big risk jumping on him. But for us with I have six, you have seven left. I think it's a bit of a no-brainer. Just a guy who's come in and just score massively for the next four out of the next 5 games. So, and obviously everyone has cash to spend. Like no one's low on cash at the moment. So there's no question as of that. So I think it's a pretty easy choice.
Yeah, I'd say he's a straight swap from Herbie, and like as you can see here, he's averaging pretty much spot on 60 both years, which is one of the higher ends of the averages, and he's at a pretty good price. He's not owned
Yeah,
by many people. If he is playing, I expect everyone in the top. I basically I reckon 70% of the top 5,000 will probably jump on him. Maybe that's a
yeah,
big call, but I think it makes a lot of sense. Um,
yeah. I mean, I think there is risk, but at the same
for
time,
sure.
though, like we're just chasing points at the moment. So
Yeah, I think the main
kind of
concern for me is I own Humphreys and he might take away
yeah.
from kicking and goals, but we shall see how that plays out. The other main buy of the week, we have three. This is the second of the three, is Kai Pearce-Paul, someone that you've owned all year. I think in the edge position, he's still one of the best options. He's a massive pod still with only 22% ownership there. And he's been scoring very well lately. He's gotten where were we? 71, 61, 61. And the Knights don't have a bye for the rest of the year. Pretty good lineup. Maybe a little bit tougher this week, but yeah, I think he's someone I'm looking to get in this week.
Yeah, I guess his real value comes with his ownership, right? Like I don't think he's a much better scorer than like a Preston or a Katoa or anything like that, but because he's like a lot lower owned, you get the benefit of he obviously has been quite quite consistent overall. So he will score well, and obviously you're getting those scores when 80% of other people aren't. So that's the real value there, isn't it? Whereas like a Preston obviously is owned by like 60% of the top 5,000, I think, something like that. So that's where the value is, and I think he should just keep scoring as he has really.
Yeah, yeah, and I think no risk of being rested at all. The only risk is
No.
injury, and there's nothing you can do about that. And at this time of the year, I think that's very valuable. Um, Moving on to the number three buy, I'll let you discuss Patrick Carrigan, but he's also someone I'm looking to bring in this week.
Yeah, I think he's someone that pretty much locked in kind of during last round, just because of the obviously like we know what he's going to do, right? He's going to play 60 to 70 minutes, score between 50 and 60, can go higher as well. And I just think like with everyone's benches kind of being tested a lot last week, and players like Turbo and Teddy and Drinkwater all going low, to get someone like him in at still quite a good price, really. I think it's just a really good kind of bolstering everyone's sort of bench, but also this week we have May out as well, and Yo. So you actually might need him in potentially.
Yeah. Yeah, I think with the lineup once again, I think it's something worth focusing on at this time of year. They've got Melbourne twice, but I mean, without Jerome Hughes, they looked a little bit lost in my opinion. And especially in that last round, they'll have a lot of rested players. And then throwing Newcastle and Cowboys in there, it's pretty good matchups for Carrigan. And
Yeah,
he's been hitting up to 70 minutes. Like, I know sometimes earlier last year and even this year, he's in the 50, 60 mark, but He's getting a lot of big games. I think a lot of that comes off Payne Haas's injuries as well. But like I said last week, he's a bit of a hedge against Payne Haas. Like if Payne Haas goes down, Patrick Carrigan will step up. And I think it's almost nice to just have that hedge as well. But yeah, like you said, ownership is very, very low. I'm surprised by how low it is. I think this will change a lot this week as well.
Yeah, yeah, definitely.
Just a wish art.
Wish I- Yeah, I guess like just still a good buy. I guess problem now is obviously everyone's selling Farnworth, so everyone has a lot of cash to spend. And his role was good last week, but it wasn't anything amazing. And so I think like look, I'm still hoping that if that kind of changes and obviously gets a little bit more kicking, a little bit more involved on in the attack. But Jonah Peasant's still on the bench in the 14 spot. So I imagine they'll probably do a similar thing last week where they sub off someone else and move Wishart to the middle, which obviously is good for his tackle numbers, but not great in terms of getting those more like explosive plays. So I think like if you really need to cash this week, it is still the best cash out option or cash down option. But I imagine people are probably fine to just go Herbie to, you know, anyone. Like that's going to free up about 150k. So I'm not sure how important a player like him really is at this moment.
Yeah, I think the main thing for me is he is that low price. He is still a pod, very much so. And he has a
True.
history of performing. Like he has a couple 60s in there. He has a couple, mid 40s, and he will be playing the next 5 games. He's likely to play in that last game. I don't think he's going to be a massive important piece in them during the finals. He'll play a role, of course, but Jerome Hughes should be back by then. So I think he also has potential to be a point of difference, but obviously better options, like you said. And one of those pods is Dane Gagai, who you mentioned to me, I guess, earlier this week, and I sort of shrugged you off a little bit, but I'm starting to come around. I think he could be a viable option.
And I think it's just more uh, the other options are maybe a little bit better. Obviously, no buys, and well, it's an all right fixturing list. Like it's obviously Penrith is pretty tough, but I think hoping for like a low score of 40 and maybe a few 50s and 60s for the rest of the season. I just don't know. Like I think obviously I think if Latrell's playing, you go for him. I think I'm not sure if we have Lomax in one of these, but I kind of
We do.
sort of prefer almost sort of prefer him in a sense as well with the Eels upcoming draw. But I don't mind it. And again, I think anyways, any of these guys are kind of fun. They're all low ownership, all a bit of one difference players that you can obviously whoever you think will score best is the best option for you and your team.
Yeah. Yeah, I think the center wing fullback position's been a bit tough as of late. Um, I just streamlined here into Lomax. He's also pretty low owned, about 3% in the top 5,000. He's actually owned by more people outside. Is
Yeah,
that normal? I don't, maybe that is normal. I've just never
yeah,
paid
just like
attention. It
it's
is.
like my popular players, get it
Yeah.
more.
But I feel like he's one of those rocks and diamonds sort of players, which makes me turn off him a bit, but he has the opportunity to go very big if you're looking for a last push. And yeah, he didn't have kicking duties last week. Oh no, he did. Sorry, he did. I'm tripping balls. But yeah, only got 29, which wasn't the best. I think that hurt quite a lot of people that did choose to go for him over for a pod option. But I definitely agree. I think Latrell is the better option out of these. And moving forward, it's possible even to just move forward with low center wing fullbacks because I feel like they haven't been very reliable lately. Um, Kiraz was a bit of a concern as well, actually, on the weekend, but he got the try in the end, I believe. So paid out okay. Someone I skipped over just briefly was Reece Walsh, who I also have as a possible pod. I just like the Broncos lineup, to be honest. I don't think they'll be heavy on resting players because I think they have to be pushing the whole season. That could turn out to be wrong, but I mean, especially with Melbourne, they'll probably go up against a weaker Melbourne team. They'll probably try to capitalize on that if they can. I think he is someone that people have been eyeing off for a lot of the year, and some people pulled the trigger. We were sort of waiting for him to fully shine out because in the past few years he has been a very viable player and he hasn't really shown that at the beginning stages of this year, but he's starting to be consistent now with his, mid 50s. Um, do you consider him as a possible option for yourself?
Not really thought about it myself personally. I just think I guess what puts me off a little bit is just he isn't as much of a pod as the other guys. And I mean, I know Melbourne obviously are a bit weaker, but they are still Melbourne. And they would defend pretty well. So that's a bit of concern there. I guess honestly, he scored 50s without the try, which is pretty good in recent weeks. But then even like last game, one try, three try assists, one line
Yeah.
break for 54 is a bit concerning.
Yeah, his try assist
And
average has actually gone up quite a lot year on year there. It's gone from zero
uh,
point 0.6 to 1.1.
so look, like again, I think obviously if Latrell's playing, bring him in, but in between Walsh, Lomax, Gagai, obviously they all play every game. I think it just comes down to who's scheduled like the best and who you think has like the best role in their team because they're all pretty similar. They're all average quite similar to be honest, around mid high 40s. But yeah, I guess it comes down to matchups. They really.
Yeah. Yeah, it's tough. And then the last person we have as another possible pod
Uh,
is Hamaso, who is a very much so a pod. He's owned by 0.18% of the top 5,000. Um, I wonder if his sort of performance will pick up now that there's no Herbie there. Maybe he'll
yeah.
let's let's have a look at that actually. See if it makes a difference. So with Herbie this year, he's averaged
I think it's better game
50.4.
without him.
He hasn't. Okay, well, this doesn't mean anything, does it? That's a shame. I guess we'll
Yeah.
see. Untested waters. But yeah, I think Hammer's another viable option, another pod option. Latrell's definitely over these as well, but just throwing it out as considerations because I feel like there's not too many buys as of late. Normally I have Hines in here. I feel like Hines makes the cut every week, but they have a buy coming up, so he might be after that. And then of course there's a couple of Roosters players I think are viable, Connor Watson and Angus Crichton. But yeah, I think we'll move on to our buy hold sells because I think these first few players are basically everyone that we're going to be looking into. We'll kick it off with your team first.
Last week, yeah. So just the two trades made last week. Oh, actually, well, yeah. Current score of current rank of 4197. So you dropped back about 150 ranks, unfortunately. And I think that's just kind of because of a few players that I didn't own in Adam Dewey's and Joe Tarpanese. Then yeah, just my trades last week. It was Wishart and Firma in for Brayley and Marky Mark. I guess in hindsight, it probably would have made sense to keep Mark around now.
Yeah,
Uh, yeah, obviously, hindsight's a beautiful thing, but it'd probably be better to have than Drinkwater, who is
for
definitely
sure.
going this week, by the way.
Yeah,
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 and obviously, and obviously Wishart, who, yeah, scored fine, 36. It's not terrible, and well, obviously, I wasn't going to play Drinkwater initially anyway, but then Pass got ruled out, so it was a bit too annoying in that sense. But like good scores, from Watson and Clark and Campbell and Captain and Cleary. But then, yeah, obviously, unfortunately, having Turbo, Teddy, Drinkwater, and Fogarty is probably what just like dragged me down a little bit from from making ranks this week. Then my trade plan for this week is yeah, again, Farnworth and Drinkwater gone. I see people say like, bring up fair points to keep Drinkwater, and I think if you have less than four trades, it's probably fair enough. But I just hate watching him play. I'm just sick of owning him, to be honest. And
yeah,
so and actually, to be fair as well, he does miss rank 27 definitely on the buy. So I think that's actually something to keep in mind. And it's always, something is between Turbo and Drinky for me. Like they're both sort of similar averages now. Drinky lost goal kicking last week and he had the kick for a while as well. So they're kind of similar sort of plays in a sense, but Turbo does play every game, well, barring injury. So that's kind of why he's just sort of kept in my squad. And also I've had Drinky for like 12 weeks and he did shit for most of it. So happy to see him go. And then Carragher's definitely in. And then it's going to be between Lomax or Latrell if Latrell plays. But honestly, like Hammer actually is kind of like a fun pick as well. And Walsh, I haven't really considered probably as much as I should have. So if Latrell doesn't play, I'll have some choices to make. But yeah, so it leaves me with this sort of team where we have to play Wishart and Turbo. So they probably both score pretty well. But aside from that, a pretty strong team. And obviously, everyone's a strong team. So just got to hope that my pods pull through this week.
Yeah, I feel like the year's played out a bit weird. That's like it's very top heavy. There's a lot of
Yeah,
good players, and then it sort of falls off a little bit. I think we're both hurt by missing a couple of those pods like Ellie Guitar and stuff. But um, in regards to my team, I have some pretty similar thinking. I think Drinky becomes a sell. I think him having that buy in the last week makes it viable. Maybe if that buy
yeah,
wasn't there,
yeah.
he'd be someone you'd hold. I'm not actually sure if I gained or reduced ranks, but I stayed pretty stagnant this week, which, considering my score wasn't the best, I'm not too upset with. I think carried by Jaden Campbell myself as well. I didn't end up trading, which I'm very
Mm,
happy for because Herbie wasn't in my plans to ever be traded out, but now that's going to happen. Um, but yeah, as we can see, some highlights and some lowlights. Like you've been dragged down a little bit by the center and the wing fullbacks. Um, Still own Blake Brayley though, who's doing work for me. Um, I didn't expect to own him this long, but I'll continue to do so for the rest of the season. And like I said before,
yeah.
possibly be looking at Captain Jaden Campbell. This week, same as you. If Latrell is named, I'm definitely going to be bringing him in. But otherwise, it's obvious that I want Kai Pearce-Paul and Patrick Carrigan, and I'm leaning towards Drinky going. It's been unfortunate because I have three of my lower players that I will need to play this week, possibly, as we can see here. I'll have to loop in Owelu, Joash, and De Silva, all of which I'm expecting around 20 to 30 points, which is an ideal. So there is also a possibility that maybe I take a risk on Wishart, which is also why I had him in the buys. But yeah,
Mm.
I think I'm pretty set on these two on the side plus Latrell. What are your thoughts?
Do you have much cash? Do you have much cash free
If I do these two
doing
trades, I
those
have
two?
122k remaining, so I could push up for a Wishart maybe, but it's
Mm.
also like I don't know if it's worth it. I think a lot of thing people need to start considering with these trades left is a lot of these players are going to be rested. The Raiders have a bye as well. Cleary, I don't think is going to be playing the last round. So I don't think any of the Raiders will, and I don't think the Bulldogs will either. So probably need to save trades to maybe try and get points in the last round there. That might be a big difference maker in terms of where we can land in terms of rank for the end of the season.
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, yes, so something worth considering where you trade someone for like, a 5, 10 point game now over the next few weeks, but then if you run out of trades and someone doesn't play and your player's short for the last round, that's obviously 40 points you've lost in that 1 week. So definitely, I mean, obviously, I wanted to get to round 27 with two trades to go. I'm not sure how likely that is now, but yeah, definitely, I think, see, I'm trading tricky. I think you are as well because we have that. We are like one or two trades extra over the average, but I think if you got four or less, it's probably just maybe out and try to figure things out from there and just hope for no more injuries.
Yeah, I think the only other thing maybe worth considering is this might be a bit of a far call, but maybe Fogarty could be going soon. He had a pretty bad score last week. His break even would be through the roof. I guess if you want to retain some cash, it almost makes sense to sell him now. I think we have a lot of half coverage and he'll probably lose cash and then miss at least two more games for the rest of the year. So that's another thing on my mind, maybe, but we'll see.
Yeah, I mean, I think like going to next week, anyone has two Raiders. Obviously, I've got King as well. I think I have to sell at least one of them because well, just because of how it's been going, and you don't have to rely on playing someone like a Pali or the Silver. So
No.
yeah,
Guys,
well
if,
that
if
will be it.
oh,
Yeah.
you wrap it
Oh,
up. Go on.
well, yeah. So that's probably is it for this week. Any comments that obviously make sure ping him through. We'll get back to you. But apart from that, I mean, yeah, best of luck for this week.
Yeah, some comments would be nice. I don't think we've had any comments for a couple videos. So let us know what your favorite color is.